The broadcast came without warning. Across countless star systems, alien channels flickered to life, displaying scenes that would scar the galaxy forever. 7 million humans, men, women, and children, executed with cold efficiency, their lives ended for the amusement and propaganda of a merciless alien faction. Every blow, every death, every scream was transmitted live, a spectacle meant to humiliate and intimidate. On Earth, billions watched in horror. Families froze in disbelief. Military analysts couldn't tear their eyes away from the screens, even as stomachs churned and hearts sank. Governments tried to maintain composure, issuing statements of condemnation, but there was no words, no diplomacy, that could contain the rage swelling across the planet. In the shadows, however, something stirred. Humanity had never relied solely on diplomacy. Humanity had never been naive enough to think the galaxy's cruelty would go unpunished. Hidden fleets, long prepared, emerged from orbital bunkers, asteroid bases, and cloaked stations across the solar system. Superweapons once dismissed as myths powered online. Calculations, trajectories, and strategies long in waiting began to unfold. In the command chamber of Earth's flagship, the Etheris, Captain Leora Kane stood silently, eyes locked on the holofeed of the massacre. Her expression was calm, almost serene, but beneath that calm was a storm that would sweep across the stars. 7 million, she whispered. And they thought we wouldn't respond. Her officers moved with precision, entering codes, priming weapons, running simulations. The ship's railgun hummed faintly in readiness, a predator waiting to strike. Every system was synchronized, every contingency planned. Humanity did not act impulsively, it acted deliberately, with patience and foresight. Lieutenant Rami broke the silence. Captain, orbital defense networks are fully active. Fleets emerging from hidden caches are in position. Calculations indicate we can neutralize their first wave of command ships without risking collateral damage. Kane nodded once. Do it. Begin with surgical strike. Let them understand immediately, humans do not forget. Humans do not forgive indiscriminately. Humans enforce the law. As Earth's forces moved into position, alien fleets responded. Confident, arrogant, they believed the humans' response would be delayed, disorganized, or hesitant. But the first human fleets emerged with terrifying precision. Ships appeared from seemingly impossible angles, neutralizing missile barrages before they could reach Earth, shutting down alien shields with electromagnetic pulses faster than sensors could detect. Across the galaxy, broadcasts of the massacre continued. Alien leaders celebrated, believing their cruelty would go unpunished. They had misjudged humanity. Every calculation they had made, every strategy, every assumption, invalidated within moments. The first human strike was swift and surgical. One of the alien faction's forward command cruisers, boasting shields designed to withstand entire fleets, froze in place mid-jump. Its engines died, its weapons locked, and its crew stared helplessly as their ship became a monument to hubris. No civilians harmed, no collateral damage, only a precise enforcement of principle. Kane's voice carried across the bridge. This is only the beginning. They broadcast 7 million of our people to humiliate us, to scare us. They are about to learn what happens when humanity enforces its law. In the silence of space, the Etheris and accompanying fleets glided forward, unstoppable, deliberate. Every pulse of energy, every microwarp jump, every maneuver demonstrated that humans did not strike blindly. They struck with intelligence, foresight, and precision. The galaxy had been warned. The message was clear. Attack humans and the cost will be absolute. And humanity's reckoning was only beginning. The first wave of retaliation swept across the alien faction's territories like a silent storm. Hidden human fleets emerged from asteroid bases, cloaked orbital platforms, and deep space bunkers, striking with precision and swiftness that no alien force could anticipate. Ships that had once been symbols of power and fear were now rendered motionless, their weapons locked, their engines dead. Humanity did not destroy recklessly, it enforced principle. Every strike was surgical, calculated to send a single message: attacking humans comes at a cost. On the bridge of the Ethris, Captain Leora Kane watched the holographic display of enemy fleets frozen in space. Her voice, calm and resolute, carried authority across the bridge. Focus on command and control structures first. Disable them, leave their civilians untouched. They must understand that humanity does not punish indiscriminately. We enforce law. Lieutenant Rami nodded, fingers dancing across the console. Trajectory calculations show we can neutralize 2 of their main cruisers without a single structural breach. Micro-warp insertion points calculated. Weapons primed for precise pulse strikes. Proceed, Kane said. Let them learn restraint is not weakness. Every action has consequences. Humanity remembers every loss. The first strike was subtle but devastating. A pulse of energy surged through the lead cruiser's systems, locking engines, freezing shields, and scrambling command networks. The crew struggled in vain, alarms blaring as the ship drifted helplessly. Around it, supporting vessels attempted maneuvers, but every calculation had already been anticipated by the humans. The fleet fell into chaos without a single shot fired. Across other systems, orbital stations and patrol hubs fared no better. Humanity's forces neutralized their functions with precise bursts of electromagnetic energy, leaving infrastructure intact but useless. No civilian populations were harmed, but the message was unmistakable: resistance against humans was futile. In distant command chambers, alien generals panicked. "They are calculating everything," one officer stammered. "Every fleet movement, every countermeasure, already anticipated. They are faster, smarter, and everywhere," another whispered. "How is this possible?" Kane's eyes narrowed as the Ethris moved through the sector, each microjump bringing the humans closer to the heart of the alien faction. "They underestimated us. They thought a broadcast of our deaths would intimidate. They were wrong. We do not retaliate blindly. We do not act without reason. We enforce." The second wave of strikes targeted escape routes. Fleets attempting to flee were intercepted, immobilized, or neutralized without destruction. Command centers that had coordinated the massacre were carefully dismantled. Humanity's enforcement was methodical, terrifying in its efficiency. As news of the human strikes spread across the galaxy, other species began to take notice. Neutral worlds, previously indifferent, monitored every movement with awe and fear. Humanity had proven that it could act decisively, with precision, and without unnecessary destruction. The law of consequence had a new definition, and it was absolute. Kane addressed her crew quietly but firmly. They believed they could kill 7 million of us and hide behind arrogance. They were wrong. Let every system, every fleet, every commander understand the price of aggression. Humanity enforces. Humanity remembers. Humanity strikes when necessary. The fleets continued their calculated advance, leaving disabled ships and frozen command centers behind. Alien populations watched helplessly, witnessing the speed, precision, and inevitability of human enforcement. By the end of the day, entire systems had been neutralized. Alien forces had no choice but to acknowledge the humans' supremacy. Every calculation, every fleet, every assumption of dominance had been shattered. Humanity had responded. The galaxy had learned its first lesson: attacking humans comes at a cost too great to survive. And this was only the beginning. The hunt had begun. Earth's fleets did not stop at the border systems. Every ship responsible for the massacre, every command vessel that had coordinated the deaths of 7 million humans, became a target. Humanity's reach extended across multiple star systems, striking with precision that left no room for escape. Every maneuver, every fleet movement, had been anticipated and countered. No alien command could hide, no fleet could regroup. On the bridge of the Ethris, Captain Leora Kane studied the holographic maps, tracking the movements of fleeing alien factions. All vectors accounted for. No ship will escape, she said, her tone calm, unshakable. Focus on command centers first. Disable them. Make them understand that leadership bears responsibility. Lieutenant Rami's fingers flew across the console. Micro-warp insertion points calculated for all fleeing vessels. Pulse strikes ready. No collateral damage to civilian colonies in their systems. Kane nodded. Proceed. Humanity does not destroy recklessly. But we enforce law. The human fleets moved with precision. Using relativistic bursts and coordinated strikes, they intercepted every escape attempt. Alien ships that had believed themselves safe in deep space were suddenly immobilized, engines frozen, systems shut down. Command hubs were neutralized, rendering fleets directionless. Even their most advanced cloaking devices could not hide them. Humanity's intelligence network had anticipated every tactic. Across the galaxy, neutral species watched in awe and fear. Stories of human fleets systematically hunting down the perpetrators spread rapidly. Humanity did not merely strike. They executed a surgical, methodical enforcement of justice. Fleets once feared as symbols of dominance were now helpless under the humans' calculated supremacy. The Virex dreadnought, one of the largest ships involved in the massacre, attempted a desperate counterattack. It unleashed volleys of plasma and missiles toward human interceptors. In seconds, the human railgun activated, obliterating the dreadnought's command core with a single, precise shot. The ship disintegrated, leaving no survivors among the aggressor's leaders. The remaining fleets froze in shock, realizing that every strike, every defensive maneuver, had been anticipated. Kane addressed her officers, calm and resolute. They thought they could flee, hide, or negotiate. They were wrong. Humanity does not retaliate blindly. Humanity enforces the law. Let this be clear. Attacking humans comes with consequences. Absolute consequences. The fleets continued the hunt across multiple systems. Entire armadas were immobilized or destroyed. Alien command networks collapsed. Civilian populations were spared wherever possible, ensuring that humanity's retaliation was precise and principled, a message to the galaxy that aggression against humans was punishable, but unnecessary harm was not tolerated. In distant empires and neutral worlds, transmissions of the hunt spread quickly. Analysts, diplomats, and traders alike recorded the events with disbelief. Humanity had proven that it could act decisively, intelligently, and without hesitation. The massacre of 7 million had ignited a response that reshaped the balance of power. By the end of the operation, no responsible ship had escaped. Alien factions that had celebrated the killings now faced total annihilation. Humanity had not only punished the guilty, they had demonstrated strategic mastery and unwavering resolve. The galaxy now understood a terrifying truth. Humans do not forget. Humans do not forgive lightly. And humans enforce their law with unyielding precision. The hunt was over. The message was clear. And humanity had only begun to enforce the law across the stars. The retaliation escalated. Entire systems that had celebrated or participated in the massacre were now in humanity's crosshairs. Fleets, orbital stations, and planetary defenses that had once projected power were systematically neutralized. Humanity did not strike recklessly. Every attack was calculated, every move precise. Civilians were spared wherever possible, leaving only the architects of the slaughter to face judgment. On the Etheris, Captain Leora Kane monitored the unfolding operation. The bridge glowed with holographic displays of countless alien systems, all tagged, calculated, and prepared for precision strike. Target their command networks first. Disable their fleets, isolate their leaders, she instructed calmly. Every system must learn the cost of celebrating human deaths. Lieutenant Rami's fingers danced across the console. Micro-warp insertion points ready. Pulse arrays prepared. All calculations indicate near total efficiency with minimal collateral impact. Execute, Kane said. The first strikes were surgical. Orbital weapons platforms were disabled, engines and shields frozen, and fleets rendered motionless. Alien commanders scrambled desperately to regain control, but every contingency had been foreseen. Human forces moved through space like a storm of inevitability, leaving only disabled ships and shattered command structures behind. Across the galaxy, word spread quickly. Entire planetary populations observed humanity's operation with fear and awe. Broadcasts of precise, surgical strikes on the perpetrators' fleets and command centers became lessons in the cost of hubris. The galaxy began to realize that attacking humans no longer carried risk, it carried certainty. Even the largest homeworlds involved in the massacre were not spared. Human weapons struck at vital military installations, neutralizing orbital defenses, disabling fleets, and dismantling command networks. Civilians were evacuated where possible. The destruction was measured but absolute. The alien leadership, once proud and unchallenged, watched helplessly as their empires crumbled under a force they could neither resist nor predict. Kane addressed her crew, voice firm yet calm. They thought celebrating our deaths was safe. They thought humans would hesitate. They were wrong. We do not fight recklessly. We do not act out of vengeance. We enforce law. Let every system, every fleet, every civilization understand this lesson. The human fleets continued their calculated advance, neutralizing entire alien armadas without unnecessary destruction. Each pulse of energy, each micro-warp jump, each precise strike demonstrated that humanity enforced principle with intelligence, patience, and terrifying efficiency. In the command chambers of alien empires, fear turned to despair. Advisors pleaded, diplomats begged, and generals despaired. There was no negotiation, no retreat, no chance of survival for those responsible. Humanity had taken control, enforcing the law across the stars with unflinching precision. By the end of the operation, entire sectors lay neutralized. Alien fleets were powerless, homeworlds were compliant, and every leader involved in the massacre understood the consequences. Humanity's message had been delivered. Aggression against humans is punishable. Absolute. Irreversible. The galaxy would never forget the demonstration. And humanity's law had been enforced. The galaxy fell silent. The alien factions responsible for the massacre of 7 million humans had been rendered extinct. Fleets lay disabled or destroyed, command centers obliterated, and homeworlds stripped of the architects of their cruelty. Humanity had struck with precision, enforcing its law without unnecessary destruction, sparing innocents where possible but punishing the guilty with absolute certainty. On the bridge of the Ethris, Captain Leora Kane watched the final reports come in. Every system had been accounted for, every fleet neutralized, every command structure dismantled. Humanity had delivered justice swiftly, efficiently, and unequivocally. Lieutenant Rami broke the silence. All responsible systems secured. No civilians harmed. Commanders and military personnel neutralized. The galaxy is aware. Kane nodded, her eyes scanning the holographic displays. Broadcast the message. Let them know this is the cost of attacking humans. Let every civilization understand. Humanity enforces, humanity remembers, and humanity acts when necessary. Across the galaxy, communication channels lit up. Every empire, every independent system, every trader and explorer received the message. Humanity's warning was simple, direct, and undeniable. No species may harm humans again. The law of consequence had been established, and it was absolute. In distant worlds, alien populations trembled. Leaders calculated, recalculated, and recalculated again. No fleet could resist. No strategy could evade. Humanity's reach, precision, and intelligence had rewritten the rules of engagement. Aggression against humans now carried certain destruction. The Ethris moved steadily through space, its presence a reminder that humanity's law was not empty words. The railgun remained offline but visible, a symbol of latent power waiting to enforce justice again if necessary. Humanity did not act out of vengeance. Humanity acted with reason, foresight, and inevitability. Kane addressed her crew one final time, voice calm but resolute. They thought killing millions of our people would intimidate us. They were wrong. Humanity enforces the law. Humanity remembers. Humanity strikes with precision. Let the galaxy never forget this day. The fleets continued their patrols, ensuring order, ensuring compliance, ensuring that humanity's law would be respected. Every system that had once considered humans weak now understood the truth. The galaxy had witnessed the consequence. The guilty were extinct. The law had been enforced. And humanity had made it clear: never attack humans again. From the quiet of space, the Etherisk glided onward, unstoppable, inevitable, and a symbol of unyielding human will. The galaxy had changed forever.